Hello everyone, this is Jimmy Cultist, back again with another logic video. Today we're covering the subject of how to create a go-kart type vehicle in Dreams. Now the first thing that I advise is to use a sculpt as a, basic, hitbox of sorts. I advise using a rounded cube and then cutting the front and back off of it. The main reason being is you want the sides of your vehicle to be very smooth so it doesn't collide with things too easily and it won't get hooked on the environment. But you do want the back and front to be more collidable for head-on collisions and such, so I do advise cutting the front and the back off. Another thing I advise is setting the physics to high, because this thing is going to be doing all the collision in your game. And set density to 100%. Make it movable, of course. But yeah, this is our vehicle. And what I intend to do is the actual model for the car, or whatever it is you want to add. I would add that separately later, because it's just a visual, and the handling and such is where you get the main importance of the, the principles and whatnot. So, first we're going to add a microchip, and we're going to call this Logic. Going to be the logic of our vehicle. And I've already made a prototype vehicle and other things, which I may demonstrate in future videos. But what we're covering today is just the simple, left, right, backwards, forwards, turning, and stuff like that, acceleration. That's all we're covering today, so without further ado, I advise to stamp out a controller sensor. Delete that input. Forced possession is probably advisable just for the, ease of use. And then you're going to want to stamp out a little thing like this, which is basically going to act as our controls. Although we might create a secondary microchip. We're going to call this main control, just so things are more neatly organized later. Call this control inputs, because that's essentially what it's going to be. Going to take a quick crack over here. I often need reminding, as to what I'm going to need. So let's get the sticks first. Not sure if they're local. You can find that out later. Alright, let's check which they are. Local. That makes sense. I just wanted to be doubly sure. So left stick local will go in here. We might actually go through the trouble of relabeling this to local sticks. And next we're going to need our primary inputs, which I view, the primary buttons I view as X, circle, square, and triangle. Perhaps other people have different ideas about what the primary buttons are. Something to keep in mind is this stuff can actually be, slightly changed depending on your preferences. This is just how I choose to organize things. Let's get circle. We won't really be needing triangle, but I'll put it in just in case. And square, why not? In case we cover the subject, later. Alright, that's all of our primary buttons. Let's see what this one is. Shoulder buttons, we won't really be needing those for this tutorial, so we'll leave that out for now. Now that we've got our control inputs, we might as well connect the ones we're going to be using in this video, which is X and circle, all connected. Nice. And now we're going to create a big microchip, just called handling. It's basically going to be all the controls of our vehicle in one neat and easy area. And the first thing we're going to want is a gyroscope for stabilization purposes. It'll just be pointing up. I might have to review what sort of settings we're going to need. 70% on dampening, right here. In all other respects, though, I think we've got it right. And now we're going to need another chip, which we will call accelerate. Inside, we're going to want a combiner and a little node of sorts, which we will label Z because it's going to affect the Z-axis of movement. And we are going to take X, put it in the positive. Basically that means that when we press X, the positive outcome will be input through the combiner, and circle will equal the negative outcome, or the reverse of an outcome, meaning that acceleration with X and circle is going to come through this thing. And then we're going to need an advanced mover. Always pleasant to have an advanced mover. We also might have these things duplicated. We're not going to be using them, but just in case, let's go ahead and stick them up here. Advanced mover. And we're just going to connect Y to Y, X to the X, and Z to Z. Now this is an advanced mover, which we will set to local space. Use grid snap, make the arrow face toward the front of the vehicle. Of course, things may be slightly different depending Alright, and let's check. We'll want 100% strength in the movement. And speed at 5 seems reasonable. That should do. I think we're all set. Although I do want to slightly relabel these. And now we're going to need the turn. So for that, we're going to create a new microchip, or just copy that one, I should say. Copy with L1 and R2, by the way. As a friendly reminder, just in case there's new people here. And then we're going to want a splitter and another splitter, and we'll just borrow this combiner. Not sure if you reverse. Yes, reverse inputs. Negative to positive, positive to negative. And that should do nicely. We've also got a little bit of other logic going on here, which I'm a bit curious about. Gonna take a quick look and see what this is all about. Oh, that just means that we can only turn while pressing the accelerate button, is what that's about. So just go over here. Actually, wait a minute. Go to primary buttons and connect X to that. So when we press X, we'll be able to turn right and left and such, but not when we're not accelerated. Seems pretty reasonable. I think a lot of games have that control scheme. You could alter it, though, if you want to get rid of that and be able to turn even when you're not in momentum. Kind of goes against the laws of physics, as we know it. But, you know, you could pretty much do anything you want in a video game. Just so long as it's fun. Now for turning, we're going to connect the left local stick. Not sure if X should be connected. Let's take a little check over here. Not that one. Well, maybe it is that one. If we got this right, let's take a quick look. Left stick local. Oh, we're supposed to have a splitter, I think. That is a splitter. That's strange. Here it's giving 2 inputs, but over there it's giving 1. That's really bizarre. Let me briefly power this on just to see if that's the source of our... Oh yes, it's just because it was powered off. Alright. Never mind. We've got it connected properly. And then we'll want an advanced rotator. I don't know if it will need realignment or not. Let's take a look at how we aligned it. Y up, Z forward. Yeah, appears to be properly aligned. Let's get all the speed and settings correct. 56 on the dampening for Y, 59 on the dampening for Z, and 55 dampening on X. Full 100%. I took the liberty of shutting off the speed completely on these inputs. And the y-axis is pretty much the only thing we're interested in, since it will help us turn left and right. And we'll just take output and stick it into Y. Now I don't know if we're actually going to need anything else. Granted, our car will be very rudimentary in appearance, but that's something I intend to talk about later, perhaps. How to customize your car's visuals to some degree. Another thing is the camera. And it appears that we may have our mover facing the wrong direction, which occasionally happens. Actually, I think we've got the wrong axis connected. The axis should be X. Don't know how that happened. Luckily, it's as easy as just switching the input to X. Might go ahead and put them in the actual order in which they are arranged. That's probably what confused me, since Z is at the bottom and X is at the top. And the camera, you know, again, not really facing the right direction. Also, the controls are currently reversed for right and left, which I would probably want to correct. So let's go ahead and fix that. And it's as simple as connecting these. So, I'm guessing that in the reconstruction of the car, I did things slightly differently. Another thing I'm a bit concerned about is the handling feels a bit off. It's probably because it's not local. That would explain a lot. Don't forget to set it to local, my friends. Now let's make sure it's aligned properly. That feels more natural. Still a little wonky, but, you know, these are the basics of how to make your vehicle go places. We can even make it go up over this ramp, but it'll probably result in camera jitter. Wasn't too bad. Now, there is one tiny little thing that we could do to improve handling. We could cut a groove in the center, because there is a thing where microchips sometimes get a bit finicky if they're not in the center. Just a sec. Let's make a more perfect cut. That one's kind of sloppy. A little bit to the right. Then just delete it, and now you've got the microchip more centered. That might affect the mass a bit, I don't know. Yeah, that's much tighter. It's pretty easy to adjust, luckily. But what I might do, though, in future is just when you build it, make sure to build it, you know, so that it... Make sure to build it with that in mind. Let's just say, when you add the microchip and do all that stuff at the beginning. Now that's it for the basic handling. There's a few other things we could cover, such as momentum loss and drift. Drift is a subject all to itself. Collision, camera, things like that. But we've gotten down to the basics of how to create a moving vehicle, or in this case, a moving brick. But don't worry, we'll add some nice visuals later, and it will all look more tidy. Hopefully you found this helpful if you're making a racing game of your own, or even just a vehicle section in an adventure game, or anything you might be doing.
If you enjoyed this, give us a like and subscribe. If you'd like to support us and get featured in the credits of our videos, visit the link in the description, which will lead you to our coffee. Thank you so much for watching, and that's all for now.